great game, though, last night, nonetheless. Hope folks got a chance to catch it. Go USA. Meantime, joining me right now is Tim Constantine, host of the Tim Constantine Capitol Hill Show and a regular columnist for the Washington Times as well. Always great to talk with you, Tim, and must admit, heck of a column you got out. A bit of a comparison. People might not be able to make this comparison here, but we'll let you do the job anyway. The column is in the Washington Times right now comparing Hillary Clinton to Bernie Madoff. And you're right. Hillary Clinton makes for an interesting comparison. Like Madoff, the Clinton name immediately raises questions about trustworthiness. And like Madoff, she is dependent on convincing people her situation is something that's not in order to achieve her personal goals. What inspired you to make this comparison, Tim? How'd you think of this?
Well, it's funny. As I've been watching the Clinton campaign unfold, I have been watching what I consider to be a deception. When she announced, she did it on a video. There was no crowd. You know, yesterday you watched Chris Christie announce, and there's hundreds and hundreds of people cheering. Nobody for Hillary. There's one person by herself. Not even her family is with her. And then she goes to Iowa, and over those first couple of days, she meets with 14 people, not with big crowds. There is no groundswell of support for Hillary Clinton. And so what occurred to me is she is dependent on maintaining this deception, creating this illusion that she has a groundswell and that she is the inevitable nominee. And as long as people believe that, she'll become the nominee. And I just thought in this case, Bernie Madoff, his Ponzi scheme was dependent on people believing he was successful, on people believing he was making the money. In neither instance does it seem to be true.
You also bring up the fact that, like Bernie Madoff, who was once the chairman of the NASDAQ, Hillary Clinton has also had some impressive titles. She has them on her resume and her LinkedIn page. But that doesn't necessarily translate to real experience.
Right. When you look at Madoff's biography, then it's very impressive. And you think, oh, my, this man must be credible. And when you look at Hillary, you think, oh, gosh, Secretary of State, U.S. Senator. And yet, when you look for the red meat, when you look for the substance, and I do this all the time. I'll do this at social settings. I do this anywhere. If someone is a Hillary fan, I will smile and say, what do you think is her biggest accomplishment? And then I just stay silent. And I've asked that, I bet, a dozen times, and I have yet to get an answer from anyone. They could be the biggest Hillary fan there is, but they look and they scratch their head and then they giggle because they realize they can't name one. There are no big signature accomplishments for Hillary Clinton.
Well, we could name some that were supposed to be signature accomplishments: installing Mohamed Morsi as president of Egypt, the restart button with Russia, Benghazi, the list goes on. But at the same time, you mentioned this in your column. We have an article from Politico here talking about the relationship between Hillary and trusted advisor Sidney Blumenthal. Some new revelations about this, and we'll talk about it in a moment. But what was your biggest takeaway from what we learned recently about this new batch of emails and Hillary's relationship with Mr. Blumenthal? About 30 seconds left to go, Tim.
Well, you know, I'm not a huge fan of Clinton anyway, so I may be cynical. But when she came out at the United Nations a few months back and said, I have released every email, that could possibly be attached to any business I have ever done, I doubted it. When you deleted 30,000 emails, I bet maybe something in there shouldn't have been deleted, and now we know that's true. Blumenthal wrote her things about Libya, about Benghazi, advised her on things. She deleted them. It wasn't every email that could possibly be attached. She lied to us.
Yeah, that trustworthiness issue continues to come back up again and again. We're going to talk more about those emails coming up in our second hour. We're going to have Sarah Westwood from the Washington Times joining us as well. But we're going to talk to you, Tim, when we come right back after this commercial break, about Ted Cruz's star turn with BuzzFeed and those Simpson impersonations. What they really might mean for the campaign in 2016, and you will not believe the ungodly amount of money that is being spent on social media this campaign election cycle. More to come here on Newsmax Now. Stick around with us. Tim Constantine and David Goodfriend, former staff secretary for President Clinton, will be with us right after this.